Hey everybody, welcome back to another full self-driving video. I have the latest version, which is 12.4.3 in my Model 3, and I'm going to test it out in downtown Chicago here yet again. A lot of people questioning whether I really do have the latest version. Let me just show you in the software here. If I go into the software menu, you can see I have 12.4.3, and if I go into the release notes, there's little information about what's new. So we kind of have to figure this out as we go. You may be wondering, how am I getting these versions ahead of everybody else? I have been testing ever since October 24th, 2021. I did a 7-day challenge to get into the full self-driving beta program as an early tester. And then Elon Musk saw a series of my tweets back then, and he responded to them, and next thing I knew, I was added into the first release group, also known as the OG group. So I'm very privileged, very happy to be part of this group. I've been posting videos for almost 3 years now and working hard to document the progress of full self-driving. That is the entire purpose of my channel. So if you're new here, welcome and thank you for joining. Please don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. It goes a long way towards supporting me. I also have a Patreon site where I provide insider tips and a little bit of extra information about my setup and all of my video gear and how I do my editing. We're gonna get started. You can see I have Fairmont, Chicago dialed in. This is a great place to test Lower Wacker Drive, Nike Chicago, heading over to the Trump Tower, the Willis Tower, and then ending it at the Chicago Theater. We're ready to go. I'm in park, so I'm going to put it into drive. For anybody that's new to the self-driving software, you do need to put it into drive first, and then you need to wait for a little icon to show up in the upper left. I'm waiting for it right now. It's a little steering wheel icon. The cameras kind of have to get adjusted, understand the environment. Still waiting for it here. Should show up any moment, and if it doesn't, you typically have to push forward just a little bit if you're parked in an unusual location or it's lost its bearing somehow. It sometimes won't allow you to turn it on when you first go into drive. So I'm still waiting for it here. Not seeing any sign of it. So it looks like I am going to have to push forward manually just a little bit. Let's see how much it takes before that wheel icon shows up. Just tapped on it ever so slightly there. Still nothing. A little bit more there. Interesting. It is not letting me turn it on. Okay, so we'll just go directly into the lane. There it is. There's the steering wheel. Okay, here we go. This is an exciting ride. I'm so happy to have all of you here. You will not be disappointed with this video. I promise you, there's a lot going on here. This is July 5th. It is extremely crowded down in the city. You can see I'm turning left here, and I'm in the wrong lane to be doing this. I'm probably confusing the other driver there. They proceed forward. My car then goes left, and not exactly the perfect thing to do. I come up to this intersection. It's a four-way stop, and you'll see here a car on the right comes up after me, and my car really hesitates. You can see here it's time to go. It comes to a complete stop. Right there, there's our NHTSA stop, and you can see this other car comes up. I should have gone a little while back. Confuses them. They just proceed forward. And my car then does its thing. I'm not in the city, so I was patient enough to allow it to do that, but if I was driving and not filming, I certainly would not have given it the benefit of the doubt there to wait that long. So I do report that with the camera icon in the top area. You can see here it's turning right. It didn't get over far enough into the far right lane. It just didn't feel right. So I'm going to replay this. You can see also the path here jerks to the left. Thankfully the steering wheel did not move and respond to that slight disturbance with the path. When I talk about the path, I'm talking about that blue line that's projecting out of my vehicle. So once again, I reported that because it just wasn't the best behavior. So straight out of the gate, we're not really seeing the best behavior here. I'm going to fast forward through a lot of sections of this video just to save you some time. These are flawless maneuvers. Everything is done really, really well in these sections, but I do slow it down for the merge onto the highway because I think this is absolutely fascinating how it does this. You can see we've got a lot of traffic, and I'm coming in and it puts on its left turn signal and it's trying to get over right now. Thankfully, the person behind me gave me a gap. That is not always the case. Now, if they had closed that gap, I would have missed the entrance and I would have had to take over and basically force myself in manually. You can see my car is moving over. Now look at the path. It's really all over the place. You can see it's changing lanes to follow route. That car is not letting me in. A lot of full self-driving users have had issues with lane selection, and on the highway it still has issues here. You can see it's trying to get over, but it hesitates once, it hesitates twice, and then it eventually gets over. So that was very uncomfortable for me as a user, so I do go ahead and report that. Here again, it's trying to change lanes, and it actually aborts and stays in the lane, and then tries again and forces itself over. Thankfully that time it was assertive enough, but it's 50-50 whether or not it gets over quickly or hesitates. I was asked at one point why I don't have the blind spot camera showing up on my screen. The reason is because I don't get a lot of use out of it. I'd just much rather look over my shoulder, and I also have an older Hardware 3 Intel processor, so I'd rather not have that visualization taking up extra memory. Here again, changing lanes to follow route, getting all the way over into the far left lane. Not bad. I thought it did fairly decent there. Highway driving, I don't have too many issues except for merging and every so often lane selection and getting off at exits. Now you can see here the left turn signal went on, but there was no message indicating why it was doing that. I think it was because another lane opened up and it was just getting over just for the heck of it. Now take a look at this. We're changing lanes to follow route. We need to get over, and we have some cars on the right that are merging here. Now this is fascinating what happens here. This is, first of all, the first time I've ever seen this message. It says right here, changing lanes to avoid neighboring vehicle. Use turn signal to cancel. If I am not mistaken, this is brand new to 12.4 and specifically 12.4.3. But as you could see, it was just really not the best behavior. It made me feel really uncomfortable, and to get a real understanding of how uncomfortable it was, this is inside of the car. You can see it's coming up here. It felt like I was going to collide. I mean, I'm awfully brave to allow it to do what it did. I know a lot of people would have taken over a lot sooner than that, but I was willing to trust it. That easily could have been an accident, however, depending on the traffic behind me if they weren't paying attention, because I was hanging out in the other lane. You can see it's kind of moving a little bit to try to center itself in this lane here after that situation. Now, I have the Fairmont Hotel dialed in, and previously in my last video I also had the same destination. However, it went up on the upper Wacker Drive. It's supposed to go to Lower Wacker Drive, so let's see if it does it this time. There it is on the left, and yes, left turn signal goes on. We are going down into Lower Wacker Drive. If you don't know the history of this, check it out. This is really, really cool. Chicago is very interesting. Multiple levels.
And because we're in Chicago, I do have to mention that scenes from the Blues Brothers were filmed down here.
Oh yeah, that was definitely Lower Wacker Drive.
This is definitely Lower Wacker Drive.
As well as scenes from The Dark Knight, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So if any of this looks familiar, you may have seen it in one of your favorite films at some point.
There's probably a traffic signal right around this corner. Yep. Can't I just vault over these guys like Bruce Wayne does in The Dark Knight?
Meanwhile,
And we are stuck in traffic. This would be the perfect time to vault over these cars. Thankfully, because there's so much traffic, and I failed to mention, on the way in there was actually a sign mentioning that this is heavy traffic situation. There are events going on down in the city, so a lot of congestion here today. So this is the most complex environment you could possibly throw full self-driving into. And as I mentioned previously, if full self-driving can tackle Chicago, it can tackle most complicated cities, I would say, except for maybe India and parts of China. You can see here poor GPS connectivity. It comes here, it proceeds forward and then brakes. The car behind me, they could have rear-ended me if they weren't paying attention. That was uncomfortable for me, to be honest with you. And you have to be in the car to kind of witness situations like that. Now, coming up here, we are supposed to turn left onto East South Water Street. Now, this is exactly where we need to turn left. And the GPS connectivity, a lot of issues in Chicago are related to the maps, lower and upper, and then you have Lower Wacker Drive, all these different levels. But here it misses that turn. And now we start going into the abyss. We are straying off course here, and I frankly am a little bit nervous. I don't know where it's going, and I don't know what is about to happen here. This area is very unusual. I pull over the map and I think to myself, okay, Fairmont, Chicago is basically right above us. Let me just delete that and see if this improves our route. Someone comes up behind me here, you can see, so now I'm like, oh no, but look at the sign, it says no turn on red. I zoom in to see what it's actually going to do since I changed the waypoint. It looks like it's going to do a U-turn here, but the right turn signal's on. The U-turn says we're going to go left. Now the car behind me pulls up to the side. Maybe they gave up waiting. Maybe they thought I was being weird. Who knows? But not to worry. The light turns green and my car goes. But wait, pedestrians. Okay, no, it's safe to go. And which way? No. Now, this is Lower Wacker. Nobody goes down here, guys. This is where all the rats and all the monsters and the trolls, they hang out down here. This is like uncharted territory, basically. I don't know any addresses except maybe some parking garages and maybe some loading docks that are down here. So I have no idea what it's doing. It's kind of going randomly through here. This is the wrong way to be going. And then we start to go, where are we going? Hold on a minute.
run.
It did stop. Now, a car is coming. Turns out, this is a police vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to get arrested. Honestly, guys, it's been really nice knowing you. I hope I can continue to make full self-driving videos while I'm in jail.
Look at that. Get that my gun.
I immediately take over. That's the first disengagement, and I'm freaking out. Oh, good. They left. This is not a good situation to be in. Suddenly, I look behind me. We have another police vehicle. Second chance where I could possibly get pulled over. Please go away. Okay, I think we're in the clear. But wait, I'm driving manually so I can just drive as fast as I can to get away if they start chasing me. Oh no, are there lights on? Oh no, oh no, 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 wait a minute. This is not good. Okay, I'm speeding now. No, okay, I'm playing around. Nobody stopped me, so I was very relieved. So now I'm trying to take it out, and I'm still driving manually. I'm thinking, okay, where are we headed? We're heading over kind of toward the Navy Pier, and then back up onto Michigan Avenue to get over to the Nike Chicago store. It's the same location that I had dialed in for my previous trip. I do turn the software back on. It comes through here really nicely. Now take a look at this. This is absolutely fascinating. Coming down green light, I should keep going. A pedestrian crosses incorrectly. My car slows down for them. Should have gone there, and it had to stop. So, you know, a human driver would have gone through because they had the right of way. That human was moving. I kind of laugh a little bit because it was not the way a human would drive. Thankfully, nobody was behind me. But these situations always kind of make me giggle because we're in an unusual time right now with this technology. Now take a look at this. This is another fascinating thing. So there's good and bad aspects. This is really good. Yellow arrow proceeds forward. Look at the gap. It finds the gap. I didn't even know I had to stop here. I mean, I take that back. I did, but I mean, for the software to figure out exactly how to stop here, I thought that was pretty impressive. So I think it did a good job there. I go back and forth. I posted a positive review previously of these latest versions, and then I posted a negative review, and someone said, I can't trust you. You have schizophrenia. Well, I'm sorry to say, but this software has schizophrenia. It acts really well sometimes, and then other times very poorly. Now, take a look at this. I'm playing this at real time just so you can see here. Someone comes up behind me. It is a green light. The bus goes, and I'm not going, so I'm wondering, well, why? Okay, that light on the far left, we don't know. There's the green there. Look at that. That's out. No light there. Then we have a red light there for the no turn on red randomly, and then no light there. So one green, one red. Okay, so that kind of explains it. They're kind of canceling each other out, right? Well, it's really hard to see exactly what happened here, so I'm going to have to slow it down and zoom in. This is slowed down to 25% speed. Look at this light here. So it's turned green, but the light is actually out. That bulb is broken. So this is an edge case, and the light on the far right is green. Now look, the bus passes over its field of view, and it goes out and it comes back on. So as soon as that turned green, the car started to go. No, actually I take that back. It started to go because I pressed forward. So there is our first intervention, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, that was a very interesting edge case, but it's a perfect example of these situations that a self-driving car needs to be able to handle. Very, very, very difficult. How do you determine? You can't always take cues from other drivers around you. That's just not the appropriate thing to do. So you really need to solve for these situations. Extremely complicated. So you can see we've got quite a bit of congestion here. We're moving forward, and then we're going to be turning right onto Fairbanks Court. Proceeding forward, you're going to see here, this is a very interesting intersection coming up here. We have a lot of people. This is a one-way street. I want to draw attention to that first and foremost. and you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanes of traffic. I'm getting all the way over into the far right lane, which is the correct location to be in, and we've got a bus right in front of us. The bus proceeds because it's a green light, and the bus makes it through, but now the light turns red and I'm forced to wait. No big deal. I'm not in any rush. I'm testing this and I have all the patience in the world. So we're waiting for all these people to cross. Now I want you to see what happens here. Everybody always talks about how horrible full self-driving is in certain situations, but we really need to also look at human drivers, because human drivers are not perfect either. In fact, I quite honestly, in most cases, would trust full self-driving versus human drivers. This is a perfect case in point. Take a look at the car in the second lane from the far left. Watch that car. The light is red. Suddenly, what? Yeah, that is not legal at all. So you can see here, though, this is new behavior. It starts to move forward before the light turns green. I have never seen that before, ever. That is really cool, and that's not the only time that happens throughout this drive. Very impressed. Now look, it has to shoot the gap between these pedestrians. Is it going to go? Oh, so that scared me a little bit. Very, very assertive. AI driver mentioned in one of his videos that full self-driving has grown a pair. And that is a perfect example of a very assertive scenario where it just really went forward. I mean, I was shocked that it went. Now, I trust it enough where I was not going to take over or disengage. I feel like somebody who's new to the software may have disengaged there. You can see this bus is slowing down. My car hesitates, does not turn left until the green arrow. At this point, I'm gonna have to cut this video short and continue this drive in my next video. Thank you so much for all of your support. Please consider subscribing and joining my Patreon. It goes a long way for small content creators like myself. Until next time, thanks for watching.